Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast, where life, sports, and medicine intersects. We are glad that you are part of this growing community where we strive to help you strengthen your mindset, help you grow your assets, and help you achieve whatever level of success that you want for your life. Go to our website at Dr.Derrick, thesportsdr.com, where you can find all the latest content, and you can also follow us on our social media channels. Now, let's get into this episode. Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. And I guess we will officially call this the Super Bowl post-game show. It's been a little bit over a week now since returning from San Francisco. Once again, having the experience of being at the Super Bowl, but this time a little more behind the scenes than actually at the game. I actually did not attend the game. I was back in Mississippi by the time the game was televised, which was fine by me. But we had a very packed 3 days of Super Bowl festivities and events, and it really lived up to the hype. It lived up to everything that I thought it would be. I was able to connect with some amazing people, able to see some of my colleagues that are also in this space, and really able to just experience kind of life behind the scenes and everything that leads up to the Super Bowl. And once again, a special shout out to HBCU Endzone and Tracy Wright, who is the founder and CEO, for her vision and for allowing me to be a part of her movement as a board member for HBCU Endzone, which really opened up the doors for me to be able to be at the Super Bowl, not only as a speaker, but also as a moderator for a panel. I was able to connect with a lot of undergraduate students that are, just excited about their futures and able to have great conversations with them. Also able to connect with former NFL players that are part of HBCU Endzone, as well as some of the sponsors. Able to interview. I had the privilege of interviewing Daniel Gillison, who is the CEO of the National Alliance of Mental Illness. If you're not aware of NAMI, you should definitely check them out. They have a great website with a lot of resources about mental illness, as well as I had the opportunity to interview Harry Carson, who is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, a former NFL Giant, played 13 years for the New York Giants, won a Super Bowl in 1986. I had the opportunity to interview him to highlight his bout with prostate cancer and overcoming prostate cancer. And now he is on a mission to really educate males about prostate cancer, especially in the African-American community. So that was day one for me. So we arrived late Wednesday night, and Thursday morning is when the festivities kicked off. Of course, we had the excitement of trying to figure out where to go to get credentials, and showed up. My credentials were ready. Didn't really know what Maisha was going to do, so we had to walk around quite a bit. And one of the first questions, so we go to media row. That's where we end up getting routed to try to find our credentials. And I show up, I have my media pass, and they say, "Who's your talent?" And I'm like, "Who's my talent? I don't know. I'm here with HBCU Endzone. My name is Dr.Derrick Burgess." And they were like, "Who is your talent?" So that was the first question that caught me off guard. But what I realized now, they were asking me, I'm on media row. Who are you here with? What star are you here representing? Or who are you here to interview? I don't know. So the other question that I got throughout the week was, so who's your talent? And then anytime I would go somewhere, it would be, I had this media pass on. So I would walk up to the front desk and they'll see my media pass and they'll say, no, you have to go out the back. No, there's a special interest for media. So I was trying to tell everybody, I got a media pass. I'm not really media. I'm a doctor. I'm here for this, that, and the third. So it's always interesting. That you're kind of fish out of water when you have to really explain who you are, what you're doing, why you're here. But that's all part of it. And that's part of being on the path less traveled. So shout out to some of the other physicians that were in the space that I know that were out there working. Dr. Wilson Charles, Dr. Brooks Chalet, who did a lot of work on the red carpets, interviewing people about mental health. Dr. Sadiq El-Amin, I ran into him at the fashion show. He had his water as a sponsor, North Georgia Water. So shout out to him. Was a sponsor for the Off the Field Wives fashion show. So that's just another physician entrepreneur in the space. So able to see some familiar faces, able to meet a lot of new people, and just had a great time connecting with people. Then one of the frequent things when you get home, hey, who did you meet? What pictures did you get? If you know me by now, I'm not really a picture guy. I'm probably on the opposite end of the spectrum. My son was like, Dad, you didn't give me any autographs. I'm like, I'd rather have you out there for your own opportunity to get them. But if you know me, I shy away from things like that. So when people ask me, who did you meet? The real answer was, if I told you, you still wouldn't know them, because my objective was not necessarily to connect with the superstars or to get selfies, but I connected with some amazing people who are really making moves kind of behind the scenes. And that for me is really more important than being able to get a selfie with somebody for just a second to say that I met them. So this takes me back to something that Dr.Derrick Thomas taught in one of his lectures in the coursework that I was taking with him. And he talked about how some people, you'll be at a conference and they have a lineup of amazing speakers, and you'll see just people hovering around the green room, for that opportunity to get a selfie or, to just say, hey, for a quick second, when really the true meat and potatoes are being served in the main auditorium. However, people will just tend to hover just to, grab a picture to be able to say, hey, I met this person. So that really resonated with me. So I'm usually more focused on what meaningful connection can I make with someone versus just grabbing a quick picture to say that I met them. But as I mentioned before, day one, we had the HBCU Endzone panel discussion. I had the fireside chat with Harry Carson, where I sat down and interviewed him about his career. We talked about, him being a tough football player, being a leader on the field, and just how did he carry over those playing days when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So I'll include a few sound bites from that.
And so I wanted to have the opportunity to use this experience as a way of sharing with people what prostate cancer is all about. And I wanted to document it. And, being a captain, you have to lead by example. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to lead by example. I wanted people to see exactly what I was going through. But the key is, if you are diagnosed with prostate cancer, it's not deadly. It's one of these things where if you're late, if you don't want to do anything about it, it's going to be trouble. And for me, I was going to act on it. And I probably could have, and I know, we're going along with this answer, I probably could have waited a couple of more years before it became a little bit more active. But I wanted it done right now. If you go to YouTube, you'll see my venture with prostate cancer. You'll see my wife, you'll see my dog and everything. But, it's one of these things that you can learn from that. For you women who are in here, for your men, tell them to watch that documented 6-minute piece. For you men who are in here, watch it and understand that it's not about the finger again, but it is about loving the people that love you. Because when you say, no, I don't want to do that, that's being selfish. It's being selfish to the ones that you love, your kids, and your family members and so forth. You're being selfish. It's not about you. You need to be around for those who love you. So, long story short, that's why I'm here. I want to talk about this and just talk about prostate cancer, because it can be beaten, but you have to go into battle early.
Are you a young physician who's frustrated in figuring out how you're going to continue to fund yourself through this early phase of your career? Are you tired of speaking to lenders who do not understand your plight? We have a solution for you. let me introduce you to Doc2Doc Lending.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Zawade Marshall, co-founder, CEO of Doc2Doc Lending. We are the exclusive lending partner for physicians and dentists in the United States. We underwrite our loans thoughtfully, knowing the physician journey and your career trajectory. We're a company that's been founded by doctors and built for doctors because we get it. Banks don't understand all the ways in which we struggle through educational debt, consumer debt, as we're trying to make ends meet during a very challenging time of our lives. Doc2Doc is underwritten with thoughtful process that's meant to give you credit for all the unique physician characteristics that you have, like being board certified, having a dual degree, undergoing and finishing a specialty or a fellowship as well, and just being employed as a physician. All of those things give you credit to get your interest rate lower with our platform.
So we are glad to partner with Doc2Doc Lending. So if you are stuck trying to figure out where you can get funding or where you can continue to support your family during this time of transition in your career, we offer you a solution. Doc2Doc Lending, physician owned, understands your plight, understands what it's like to be an early physician or a physician who wants to do something outside of medicine. Check out Doc2Doc Lending. This segment is a paid advertisement for Doc2Doc Lending Inc. Loans are made available by DR Bank, member FDIC, and are subject to credit approval and available in approved states only. Representative APRs for Doc2Doc range from 9.99% to 26.99%. Terms and conditions available at doc2doclending.com. But the main takeaway was that nothing that he did in life really could prepare him for that moment. However, when that moment struck, he said that he immediately went back to his playing days. And as a defensive player, as a linebacker, he went back to the goal line stance. And he said that anytime that, an opponent would get down inside the 5-yard line, for him, it was time to tighten up that chin strap and get down and dirty. And he mentioned how when he got the cancer diagnosis, it was nothing that could have prepared him for it. It was like a slap in the face. However, he knew that he was ready for the fight. Not only him, but his family and his circle and people that he leaned on were ready to fight and beat cancer. And some of the main things that we talked about is now the PSA lab test is just as good as the finger that everybody feared in the past. So for many men, that's one reason why you would stay away from being tested. But now it's a simple blood stick, which is very sensitive and specific for prostate cancer. And if you catch it early enough, most men are able to successfully be treated. So this call to action was really important. It was really great to sit down and connect with him. We also talked about brain health and some of the technology that's now in football to be able to diagnose concussions better, and as well as treat some of the injuries that we frequently see in football players. So once in a lifetime experience, really, to be able to sit down with a Hall of Famer to capture his story and help promote what he's very passionate about at this point in his life, which is prostate cancer education, as well as men's health and awareness in general. So that was day one. So day two in the morning, first of all, when I was coming into the convention hall, into the NFL experience, this 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, the convention hall was completely empty. So I was able to walk around and see all the exhibits before fans came in, which is usually about 3 o'clock. It was actually very eerie walking through a convention hall because I've been in that same convention hall at 10 o'clock in the morning for a medical convention. And there's already people everywhere, but for the NFL, it was like a ghost town. So I was able to walk around, take pictures, view the exhibits. That second morning, I interviewed Daniel Gillison Jr., who is the CEO of the National Alliance for Mental Illness. He is also a Southern University grad, and it was very good connecting with him and some of the people that were accompanying him, and really just seeing somebody who's more senior to you just kind of pour into you. And that's many times I'm in a mentor role, when I'm dealing with students or dealing with residents, but to have someone pour back into you was very important. And when someone is able to sit down and really just kind of speak life over your vision and the things that you're doing, and really just say, hey, keep going, because what you're doing is meaningful, what you're doing is impactful, and really just educating me on what his organization can offer, especially to for college athletes or for young people who are dealing with mental illness. If you have family members, how do you have that discussion with them about their struggles? Go to that website for NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, which is the nation's largest grassroots organization for mental illness. So a very powerful connection with him and also his team, that's very impactful. After that, we attended the Off the Field Wives fashion show and then had to leave that early and go over to the HBCU Divine Nine football game, which featured the women's flag football teams from Alabama State as well as Spelman College. And there was also another local community college that participated, but the highlights were Alabama State and Spelman, as well as some of the Greek organizations participated as well. So this was the first year that HBCU Endzone had this event. It was a great community event where a lot of people from Oakland got to come out to Laney College and participate. And just an overall good event for the community. So after that, we turned it in. Another early night, we were fighting, struggling with the time zone difference. Wow, it's crazy how much of a blur it was. And then on the third day, Saturday, we had the celebrity bowling event. How did I forget about that? But we had the celebrity bowling event where there were probably 15 to 20 former NFL players and current NFL players. So this was a very fun event where we were fundraising for HBCUs as well as just a good time for everybody to connect together. And then after that, we had a special invitation. Shout out to Alicia Whittington, who once again invited us to the Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party. Lee Steinberg is the inspiration for Jerry Maguire, the movie. So he's one of the top sports agents in the history of the NFL. And every year he has a big party, which is philanthropy, where he's giving out a lot of awards and recognizing organizations. So this is the second time I was able to attend that. And also, now it's on my radar of he has a lot of seminars, panel discussions. So that's something that I would like to be involved in the future as well. So once again, a great 3 days of Super Bowl festivities. By that time, I could care less about a football game. We were drained and just happy to get back home. And it was a long flight back home. In the middle of the flight to Atlanta, we got diverted. It had to land the plane in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which led to just a lot of drama and trying to get back home, but finally able to make it back home about midday Sunday. And really at that point, just wanted to rest and get back in with the kids. So, but very thankful for this opportunity and for the many doors that it will open up in the future. So this is not just storytelling about me. I would like to leave you with 3 tips about how to maximize, when you make a new connection, whether it's at a meeting, at a conference, at a party. It's easy to, as I mentioned before, make that connection really quick, maybe grab a picture, and then you're off. But I think it's even more meaningful when you have that moment of connection and follow through to really enhance that connection or to really develop that relationship in the future. So 3 tips of how to maximize a new connection that you make when you're at a party or convention. Number 1, I would say within that first 2 to 3 days, definitely within that first week after you meet that person, send a follow-up text or email, thanking them for having that conversation, highlighting whatever you might have discussed, and then telling them, hey, who you are, where you met, and highlighting, and then refresh their memory with what you discussed during the conversation. Just letting them know, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you. I really enjoyed our conversation about X, Y, and Z. And then number 2, if you had a discussion about something that you want to work with in the future, that's when I would say you have that connection and that call to action. Hey, remember we discussed collaborating on a podcast episode, or hey, remember we discussed you were going to introduce me to such and such, and you felt like they would be very impactful for me to meet this person because we have a lot in common. So first, make sure you follow up with a text or email. During that text or email, make sure you remind them of what your call to action was or what you discussed during the conversation. Then the other thing I think is always overlooked because many times it's when we meet somebody is what can they do for me? But I think at the same time, what I like to do is when I hear somebody and I hear them discuss, or when I'm talking to somebody and I hear them discuss a project that they might have going on, I'm always thinking who could help with this or who could enhance what they're doing. So if you have somebody that you're connected with, bring them in that fold as well and introduce the people that you know to that person, because that's just richening, that's just really enhancing that relationship and allowing them to know, hey, I'm not just here to take from you. I'm also here to share my knowledge or connections and ability to make whatever you're doing better. Because I feel that the power of collaboration is even stronger than being able to just try to do things on your own. Sure, well, I've made it to the Super Bowl at some point without HBCU Endzone, likely. However, HBCU Endzone opened that door quicker. And what am I doing for HBCU Endzone? Now I'm a physician on the panel on the board that helps legitimize their mission as well. So when you're able to help others, that makes it easier, for you to, number one, be a part of other organizations, as well as, you're bringing something to the table versus just asking others for something. So, I think that follow through is really important. I'm at many times when I'm at a meeting and somebody runs up, hey, thank you for whatever. I really enjoyed your speech, or really, do you mind if I connect with you? Without hesitation, I give them my information. Why? Because I know that probably 8 out of 10 times I'll never hear from that person again. So the people that follow through and actually enhance that relationship and make that connection, that could be very meaningful, and that can help them out and help you out in the future. However, most people don't follow through. So my main tip for you would be to follow through, make that connection. Also, when you make that connection, make sure you ask for whatever you discussed. And then if you know somebody that will be able to help with their mission or vision, also bring that person in the circle as well. So that's all I have for you today. I hope to be able to share more with you especially from the interview with Daniel Gillison from NAMI in the future. But yeah, this was a great experience, and my mind is already buzzing about next year and different ways that I can bring value, not only to HBCU Endzone, but just to the health space as far as health and sports and mindset, and really taking this to another level. So thank you, number one, for continuing to be a part. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with me as well. And also give me feedback. If you have any important tips about how to enhance a connection that you make at a convention or at a meeting, please share it. And, because we're all here to learn together. All right. Have a good week. Peace. Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Hey, time out with the sports doctor. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust you don't want to miss. This is where life, sports, and medicine.